Welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Today I wanted to make a quick video to inspire some creative thinking about how to get your luxury goods home when you go on holiday, especially when you travel internationally and you have things like customs and VAT and all sorts of interesting logistical challenges to face. So look, a couple of disclaimers for this video is that I am going to give you a bunch of ideas. I am not suggesting that you should take these as advice. I'm also looking to kind of provide some contrarian information that you might consider in planning your luxury shopping trips abroad. That's the one. I do think that it's something that you should consider beforehand rather than getting yourself into a pickle and ruining your trip worrying about such things. I travelled to the United Arab Emirates, I travelled to Italy, I travelled to London and then on to France. London, the UK, but London was the only place that I went, and Paris was the only place that I went in France. So that was my experience. I didn't shop in Dubai because the prices were pretty consistent with what I would see here in Australia. I wasn't in the mood really because my puppy dog had passed away. And Dubai was really the start of our holiday, our opportunity to relax, to really get into the holiday spirit and just stop and be quiet and still. And I did not want to be rushing around like a mad woman on a shopping expedition when it's the first time my husband and I have had to sit quietly in a resort with each other for some kind of 5 years. So I can't tell you about experiences in Dubai. Now, Italy, different situation altogether. I was not planning to shop in Italy, and so I guess this is an insight that I have to share with you until the very end, until I got to Rome. So we started in Italy in Milan, we went to Bologna, we then went to Sicily, two places, Palermo and Taormina, we went to Napoli and then to Rome. So in Milan, I ended up picking up a scarf. Not a big item to move around and transport, so no problems. I picked up a scarf and I did the passport exchange in the store so that I could claim the VAT refund. I did not purchase anything in Bologna, Palermo in Sicily, but in Taormina, I struck lucky with my Louis Vuitton wicker capucines. That was very unexpected, very unplanned, and again I gave them my passport so that we could exchange details so that I could obtain a VAT refund for that bag. Moving on to Napoli, nothing, but in Rome I had already planned to pick up my beautiful petite malle there. If I liked it, if I didn't like it, I had the comfort of a refund. I've just realised I've forgotten to include something in my recent holiday haul video. I also picked up some Valentino shoes, which are missing from that video. Damn, don't you just hate it when you miss something? What else did I pick up in Rome? Shoes. I think that's it. Shoes and the petite malle. So, that was my first kind of opportunity to come up with strategy number one. So my husband was leaving our holiday from Rome and I was continuing on to London and Paris. So what I decided to do was that I would have all of my purchases in two carry-ons. I would have one carry-on that I would take with me and I would be taking my petite malle because I knew that I was going to visit Agnès in Paris, and so I thought that was a beautiful bag to take along with me, but the capucine had no place being on the rest of my holiday with me, would have just taken up room and I would have been worried about taking it away. Additionally, the scarf that I purchased I didn't want or need to bring along with me, but the Valentino shoes I did. So I put the capucine and the scarf in a rollerboard bag that my husband was going to take with him. Then I put my petite malle and my shoes in my carry-on bag that I purchased when I was in Rome, and off we went to the airport. I went to the VAT kiosks. I scanned my documents because I was leaving the EU to go to London. My husband was leaving the EU to go to Australia. You have to be leaving the EU to be able to claim. So this was not a part of the strategy in how I booked the trip, but it just worked out like that, so I took full advantage. So I scanned the documents at the kiosk. A couple of items were flagged that needed to be checked by customs. So I went over to customs. Customs wanted to see them, asked if they were going to be in my carry-on. I said yes, and they said, well, you'll need to show those again at customs after passport check and security, because they want to be sure you're taking the items away from the country, that you're not purchasing pieces tax-free and then handing them off before you go through security to someone who is remaining in Rome, for example. So no problem, I got the refund for my other items processed, went through passport security and departures, went upstairs, went to the customs desk, showed them the items, and then they referred me to the Global Blue stand who processed the refund. So that was fine. Now, my husband took those goods back to Australia, and I took the goods that I had onwards to London. People have asked if you could post goods back. I guess you could, but you'd be taking the risk that customs might flag those goods, especially if they're expensive ones, because they want to see them. They want to know. It's not that they want to know whether you're doing a dodgy claim. It's that they want to know that those goods are leaving the country. That's my experience anyway from that example in Italy. And so I suppose if you were going to ship them or post them back, as long as you kept the dust bag of the item, nobody asked to see inside my dust bags. I'm just going to put that out there for you. Nobody asked to see that. So one thing that I learned is that they really, in my experience, did not want to see further than, oh, yep, you got an Hermes bag, can you show me? And I go like this, and they're like, that's fine, no problem, processed. Okay, so obviously I didn't buy Hermes in Rome, but just an experience, just an example because that one's here. So, you know, it depends how much risk you want to take, really. The problem with posting things back of any value is obviously you would want to declare them. I'll get onto it a little bit later, but I posted back a lot of packaging that I wanted to keep with DHL, and German customs opened the DHL box and pulled everything apart, and when I got it I was really upset at the condition that it was in because it had all just been shoved in. All of my tissue paper was ruined. Yeah, it wasn't, and I don't know if I could have improved that by declaring the items in more detail, but anyway, we'll get to that bit. So I go to London with my petite malle and my Valentino shoes, and my Capucines makes it home safely with Mr. Addiction. Yay. In London, I pick up another pair of shoes. I pick up a handbag from Fendi. Luckily, those things will still fit in my luggage. The beauty of traveling from London to Paris on the Eurostar is your bags are with you all the time. In saying that, there have been situations I've heard of where people's checked baggage has been taken by someone else, either accidentally or on purpose, from the luggage racks on the Eurostar. And that's not very nice, but if you have valuables in your big luggage, probably rethink that. I like to keep mine on me in a small carry-on, and then I can just pop it in the overhead above my seat so my eyes are on it at all times. It's never out of my sight. Yes, you don't get to claim VAT when you travel from London to Paris, but you know, for me, we had a lot more variety of pieces and things that I really wanted that I hadn't seen anywhere else, and so of course I jumped on them regardless of whether I was getting a VAT refund. I think that's the challenge that you can the challenge in shopping internationally and on holiday is you get caught up in the moment. And if you can't answer the question that you would absolutely buy those pieces, whether they were reduced recommended retail price or that you were getting your tax back, then you probably shouldn't be buying them anyway. Just my opinion. So when we get to Paris, obviously Paris is a shopping extravaganza. I buy some earrings, I buy a suitcase from Louis Vuitton, I buy an Hermes Birkin. Unexpected. And so I pick up a bunch of little bits and pieces. So most of my things were small. I bought a lot of earrings. I was wearing some of them. Small earrings from Rue Cambon, small earrings from Dior, obviously the Birkin bag. So by this stage, with me, I had the Birkin bag, I had the Fendi Fox Fur bag, I had the Petite Mal and the box that it came in, I had the Valentino shoes and the Roger Vivier shoes. And so because my carry-on bag, I had to break into it, the one that was on the Eurostar with me, because the locking mechanism failed. So I cut through it was very easy to break into, to be honest. I just cut around the zipper and with a pair of nail scissors, and easy done. I decided to purchase from Louis Vuitton in Paris the rollerboard suitcase. So obviously I purchased this. Now technically when you claim VAT, you're not supposed to have used the items. And realistically I hadn't used the items except to pack the items when I was flying out of Charles de Gaulle Airport. I wanted to keep all the packaging for the Birkin and for the Petite Mal, because the packaging, if I was going to sell the Birkin on, I absolutely wanted to make sure that I had a full set. And the box that I got for the Petite Mal, if you're interested, go check out the unboxing for that, is really unique, and I wanted to keep that. And so I did my unboxing videos on location, which meant that I could get rid of all of the packaging. Some people would cry to get rid of that packaging, but sometimes you've just got to be brutal. You just got to let it go, people. Just let it go. I wanted to keep that packaging, so I did my unboxing on location. Then I packed up the Birkin box with the Petite Mal box inside. I had all of the air paper and things. I packed it up beautifully, and I included the little Louis Vuitton trunk that we got as a gift from Agnès. I packed it all up, I took it to DHL, and it cost me about 250 Australian dollars to ship that home express with DHL. And I'm grateful that it got here, especially the trunk, but I'm, as I said, really upset that German Customs opened it and went through everything and didn't put it back properly, and so all of my paper and everything is ruined, but you know, what are you going to do? So that's another thing to consider. When you are leaving a country, you're claiming a VAT refund and you're going back to your home country, depending on what the obligations are to declare. Carrying packaging around with you is not helpful. In the case that you don't declare and you get searched, there's a whole bunch of evidence there. Here's an idea: get rid of it. Don't keep your packaging, just your dust bags. The other thing that you want to do is keep all your valuables in your carry-on, and that's exactly what I did, and have all your documentation for your VAT refunds readily available. You want to have all the pieces that you're declaring ready for customs to see easily. However, as I said, in both Italy and my experience in France on the way home was that they never looked at the actual items. They literally I just flashed the item in the dust bag and they're like, yep, no worries, cool. As long as you've got it, no problem. And they fixed it up. Same process in France. You scan your documentation at the kiosk. If it says green to go, you're good. You don't have to do anything further with the documentation. If it says red, you've got to show customs. They want to see it, and then they process it in the system. It's done. Now I go through passport security, and I've got all of my items neatly packaged up in their dust bags. For all anyone knows, I've had them for ages because there's no tags on them, there's no packaging, they are all stuffed inside of each other and safely under wraps. If you live in a country where you believe that there is a correlation between what you spend and use your passport for in another country and what information is received in your home country, then you need to take that on board. As far as I know, that doesn't happen here. We are asked to fill out a declaration on arrival about whether or not we've spent over a certain amount of money. And now, again, this is something that you have to consider. Once all of the VAT documentation has been processed, you really don't have a requirement for any of that documentation. When you arrive at your destination port, then your home port, you have an opportunity to answer questions about what you have with you. Now again, this is up to you in terms of what you do. I had purchased some items at the airport, so I had items clearly in shopping bags that, you know, had the packaging and what have you. So my view was, if I was asked if I had done any shopping, I'd be like, yeah, I have done some shopping and here it is. And they would look at it and say, what's the value of it? And I would tell them, and then I'd be on my way. I would be, you know, responding if asked. Was I going to volunteer that I spent what I spent? No, I wasn't. I was waiting for an opportunity to be asked. If I was asked, I would absolutely declare. But if I wasn't asked, then, well, you know, away we go. So I think this is kind of something that you need to think about, and something certainly that is a touchy subject for many people, is when you are going to do this kind of expedition, you're still going to save a lot of money whether or not you get a tax refund if you shop from Australia, because our recommended retail prices are so high. You're already going to get a saving just on recommended retail without the VAT refund. You're also going to, in Australia, have a lot more opportunity to see things that you wouldn't see here, because our merchandising teams just don't bring everything to market here. If you want to take the risk of getting a reduced price and a VAT refund, and you are going to, you know, do what you can to minimize how obvious that is to a third party, then that's on you. That's a call that you can make. And I think that it's good to talk to people about different strategies. And I know that I'm very grateful to the people who offered me some ideas to consider in my planning. And I think it was really worthwhile having all of the information in order to consider how I did it. So I hope that this video has given you some ideas in how you can plan for your, you know, shopping trips abroad in a really informed way, but also in a way where you feel like you have an opportunity to make the most of it, is what I'll say there. And I'd be interested to know how other people manage this process, for sure, because there's an opportunity there for us to learn from each other as well. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you found any of the ideas in it helpful or otherwise entertaining. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to see you back here for the next one. Until then, ciao.